You drive past them every single day on your morning commute. Giant sheets of printed vinyl and glowing LED screens telling you to buy insurance or hire a personal injury lawyer. To most people, a billboard looks like a simple low-tech leftover surviving in a world dominated by smartphone algorithms. That impression is completely wrong. In reality, billboard operators are running one of the most aggressive, asset-light real estate monopolies in modern history. They do not care about graphic design or advertising campaigns. They are in the business of securing exclusive visual control over public bottlenecks, using a business model that produces profit margins traditional real estate developers can only dream of. Look at traditional real estate. To build an office tower or an apartment complex, you spend tens of millions of dollars buying land, pouring concrete, managing tenants, repairing plumbing, and paying property taxes. A great annual return on investment in commercial real estate usually sits between 5 and 8%. Now look at a billboard. A standard, double-sided steel monopole requires about 4 square feet of actual foundation footprint on the ground. That footprint sits on dirt that is otherwise completely useless, the weed-choked corner of an industrial park, a ditch near an off-ramp, or the edge of a parking lot. The billboard operator approaches the landowner and signs a long-term ground lease, offering $500 to $1,000 a month for 30 years. To the property owner, it's free money for useless mud. Once that steel pole goes up, the economics invert completely. A static vinyl board might rent to a single local advertiser for $3,000 a month. But convert that same frame to a modern digital LED display, and the math explodes. Instead of renting to one tenant, the operator splits the display into a digital loop of 8 rotating 6-second slots. 8 different advertisers pay $2,000 each to enter that loop. That single steel pole, sitting on $500 worth of leased dirt, suddenly generates $16,000 every single month. Maintenance is almost non-existent. Software switches the ads remotely over cellular networks, and gross profit margins routinely cross 80% to 90%. So why doesn't every real estate investor build one? Because it is practically illegal to build a new billboard in America. In 1965, the federal government passed the Highway Beautification Act to stop roadside clutter along the interstate system. Cities and states followed with strict zoning bans. But instead of killing the industry, this law created an accidental goldmine for existing owners. By freezing the supply of billboards nationwide, the government granted a permanent, legal monopoly to whoever already held a permit. In major cities today, you usually cannot apply for a new billboard permit. You operate under a strict one-in, one-out rule, where you must buy and demolish an existing sign just to put up a new one. The permit itself becomes a priceless asset, while the steel pole is just a cheap fixture attached to that legal right. To maximize the value of these legal choke points, operators look for one specific highway feature: traffic jams. Flying past a sign at 75 miles per hour gives a driver less than 2 seconds of visual exposure, barely enough time to read a phone number. But if a driver is trapped in bumper-to-bumper traffic moving at 4 miles per hour, their dwell time jumps from 2 seconds to 90 seconds. In that single bottleneck, an ad loop completes 3 full cycles for a captive driver who has nowhere else to look. Using anonymized smartphone location data, billboard giants track this traffic density down to the minute, charging premium rates for locations that sit in front of permanent traffic bottlenecks. Yet, despite these massive margins, the industry carries a hidden structural risk. A billboard operator's primary expense is its long-term ground lease, a fixed legal contract promising to pay landowners every month for decades. But their revenue comes from corporate advertising budgets, which are the very first thing businesses cut during a recession. When an economic downturn hits, ad revenue plummets, but the billboard company cannot fire a steel pole or easily break a 30-year ground lease without forfeiting its irreplaceable permit. When cities pass visual blight laws or restrict digital lighting, operators can quickly find themselves paying fixed rent on dark, non-operational frames. When you strip away the corporate structures, real estate investment trusts, and lead tech, you see the business for what it truly is. A billboard is not a marketing tool, and it isn't real estate. It is a toll booth positioned along the public highway of human attention, privatizing the view of a road built by taxpayers, collecting a fee on every pair of passing eyes, and relying entirely on the fact that, while you drive, you have nowhere else to look.